Hello and welcome back to the only BBC you're ever going to need. It's the Blackfoot Book Club again, and I'm here again with my fourth self-published book and the first on Liverpool Football Club, Chasing the Impossible and the Sword of Damocles. I'll show you again, like some crazy, weird magician's assistant, in a joke that's never going to get old with me. And without further ado, the bubble of the unbeaten run finally bursts. West Ham United 3, Liverpool 2. My infamous scrapbooks tell me I've been to West Ham away 7 times in my match-going life, and I only saw one victory in that time too, so perhaps I'm to blame for today and not Alisson Becker. The only victory I saw was at an Upton Park in mid-redevelopment at the end of the 1993-1994 season, with Robbie Fowler equalising Martin Owen's first-minute goal before Ian Rush scored the winner with a couple of turgid minutes to go in a dreadful, forgettable game. Prior to that, I remember going to Upton Park for a big match live game with the legendary Brian Moore in 1991, which finished 0-0, and a 1-1 draw in the amazing 1987-1988 season, with the other game soon after in 1998 worthy of both note and indeed forgetting. On a cold November night, me and my oldest friend Marc saw the mighty Reds dismantled 4-1 in the League Cup, a game infamous for the 2 goals from Paul Ince and Tony Gale trying and failing to leap over an advertisement board after he scored direct from a free kick. It was a dreadful night, yet another departure from Upton Park with only a defeat to talk about on the train home, and the only highlight being an inventive Scouser who, upon seeing a helicopter hovering over the church near the old Hammers ground, shouted, "Jesus! That fella up there is clearly looking for parishioners!" It was a perfect remark as we filed away from the home of West Ham United after yet another defeat, as do thousands of Reds this evening after a game that ended the 25-game unbeaten run, but showed a few alarming cracks in a team I often espouse as playing PlayStation football. With a quarter of the game to go and the Reds losing 2-1, Thiago Alcantara gave the ball away, the phase of play resulted in a corner to West Ham, and the resultant corner saw new Hammers hero Kurt Zuma rise at the far post to make it 3-1. In just this small microcosm of perhaps 90 seconds, you could see a tired and somewhat leggy Virgil van Dijk frustrating and angrily berating the midfield. Thiago was dreadful, I'm his biggest fan by the way, and completely ineffective after coming on as substitute, and yet another corner or set piece led to yet another conceded goal and, more worryingly, Becker's second major lapse of judgment tonight. I don't think he was at fault for the opening goal, but I also don't think he should be labelled with giving away an own goal either. It was the perfect West Ham storm, a perfectly delivered corner that Becker and his cream-shirted teammates couldn't deal with. The third goal was a carbon copy of this, and the second goal saw a leggy defence retreat for a weak effort from Pablo Fornells to sneak under Becker. Origi's smart goal with 8 minutes to go gave Liverpool hope of snatching an undeserved draw, but the 3-2 scoreline held, and David Moyes and his team had done a job on Liverpool. That job started in the first half, when after getting their 4th-minute lead, they quickly resorted to 2 banks of 4 with the intention of hitting Liverpool on the break. Angelo Ogbonna seemed to have the first 20 minutes of the game for his own pay-per-view enjoyment, as he was involved in the goal, which was VAR confirmed, then an injury incident, also referred to VAR, before another injury forced him off altogether. But this set the pattern for a dreadful, scrappy, stop-start first half. West Ham centre-forward Michail Antonio gave up ploughing a lone furrow and could be found on the edge of his own penalty area with the rest of his teammates as 2 banks of 4 effectively became 2 banks of 5. But Liverpool was slow, ponderous, and only Andy Robertson and Fabinho were playing above par. Mo Salah's touch deserted him, Henderson and Oxlade-Chamberlain were ineffective, and only a pure piece of PlayStation football from Alexander-Arnold had the Reds level at half-time with a gem of a training ground-inspired free kick. However, 5 minutes into the second half, West Ham finally had a shot on target, a Michael Dawson header against the bar, but before Dawson again tamely headed into Becker's gloves. Sadio Mane went close immediately for the Reds, but the game petered out and the Reds struggled big time before Fornells made it 2-1 with a quarter of the game to go. It's just one defeat, and one defeat after being unbeaten for 25 games before it, so there's no alarm sounding here. More in lament that with the freedom and open space that creates PlayStation football smothered by David Moyes' team, Liverpool laboured. Passes went astray, the calm assurance that normally abounds was seemingly absent, and Virgil van Dijk's untypical anger at his teammates spoke volumes. Alisson Becker, the best goalkeeper in the world, had a day at the office to forget, and for once, just for once, with both Fabinho and Henderson playing, the team didn't. Or more appropriately, perhaps, they weren't allowed to by a West Ham side who thoroughly deserved their win. Arsenal in 2 weeks' time should have been a game to be licking our lips at, and an easy 3 points over a struggling team that will struggle for some years yet. But after the dreaded international break, and with only a shorter period of time to have his boys back together before the game, the Arsenal game now has a very different edge to it for Jurgen Klopp now. The unbeaten run is over. Long live the unbeaten run. Starting a week on Saturday against Arsenal. Chasing the impossible and a sword of Damocles. It's my first self-published book on Liverpool. It's my fourth in total. It's a book I'm immensely proud of. I may have mentioned that to you 1,627 times before. There's a link below for how you can purchase it. There's also links below for how you can support me. Poke the eye of those traditional publishers who refuse to read my manuscript. And with a sing-song ending, I leave you in peace and in solidarity. And I truly do thank you for watching. Peace, everyone.